Hey everyone, welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. Got a lot of your odds and ends questions from this past week regarding Raw and Smackdown. But before I get started, a few things I need to mention. First off, a special bonus edition of NoDQ&A video, I guess you could call it, up on NoDQ.com, and you will have to go to NoDQ to watch that video. So check out the link in the description box or go to NoDQ.com and check out the visuals section. You can check out that extra bonus video if you're interested. The other announcement is this coming Monday, I will be doing another live chat. I would like to thank the people that showed up last week for SmackDown, the pre-SmackDown chat. You can check that out this coming Monday night, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 4:30 p.m. I should say, Pacific Time. 1/2 hour before Raw, I will be discussing whatever you want. Ask me anything. Come join the live chat and stay for the live chat for the duration of Raw. I'll be in there to chime in with my thoughts and you can discuss Raw with other fans. It was a lot of fun last week and look forward to doing it again. So check that out. Now, let's get down to your questions. This one comes from Moneymaker. Now that Reigns lost clean at Battleground and Raw, what role would the guy fill at SummerSlam? That's an interesting question. I'm guessing we will find out this coming Monday what Roman Reigns' role for SummerSlam is. I'd like to see the heel turn, as I've mentioned before, but I'm not expecting it. I think that as long as Vince has a say and has the final say in WWE, Roman Reigns will continue to be booked as a babyface, and Vince will continue to try and make it work for as long as he possibly can. What that means is Roman Reigns will probably go up against a top heel. Now, which top heel? There are several candidates in WWE right now, several top guys. I'm looking at somebody like Kevin Owens as a possibility. There's a lot of different people WWE could put in there against Roman Reigns. Actually, I'm hoping it's not Kevin Owens just because I'm thinking Reigns will win as part of his redemption storyline. I'd rather it be someone else. So yeah, that is a very interesting question. And at this point, nothing is set in stone. But again, you got SummerSlam only about 3 weeks away now, and WWE will need to get going on that storyline for Roman Reigns and put him in his next program. This one comes from D. Robinson. Will Kevin Owens get lost in the shuffle on Raw? I think he should have went to SmackDown and feuded with the GM commissioner. Like I said, I could see Kevin Owens going up against Roman Reigns. Since Kevin Owens doesn't really have a clear storyline right now, that would be a logical pairing. I just don't like the idea of that happening because it's almost certainly going to be a Roman Reigns win over Kevin Owens, which I'm not a huge fan of. I think Kevin Owens should be protected, and coming off that loss to Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens really needs a big win at this point. I would avoid doing Owens versus Reigns, at least right now. Let Owens get a big win at SummerSlam, and then maybe in the fall you could do Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. But ideally, I would just turn Roman Reigns heel and let him be the top heel, and maybe even turn Kevin Owens babyface, because everyone's loving Kevin Owens. I mean, every single time he comes out, the second his music hits, everybody pops for him. He never gets booed when his entrance music hits. He always gets cheered. People want to cheer the guy. They like him. He's like a CM Punk type character, a rebel. He says whatever he wants. He's a no BS kind of guy, and people love him for that. So I think at some point you got to just turn Owens heel, or excuse me, turn Owens face and turn Reigns heel. I'd love that. I'd love a double turn, but almost no chance we're getting that. This one comes from Mikey. In your opinion, what match should close SummerSlam? I feel Rollins and Balor would make the biggest new era statement. I would like to see the WWE title match close SummerSlam. I agree with Jeff Meacham that the world title match should normally close the show, but I also feel that the match that is going to be the biggest draw should also close the show. I don't think I would put Randy Orton versus Brock Lesnar as the final match, just because part of me thinks the crowd might turn on this match with Brock Lesnar failing the USDA drug test and fans starting to resent him for that, and Randy Orton, a guy who's making fun of Brock Lesnar when he had 2 suspensions himself. This is New York also, where Lesnar and Goldberg got booed out of the building. I mean, I'm not sure if the New York fans will turn on Randy Orton, but they may turn on Lesnar. I mean, I've been sensing on television, every time Lesnar's name gets mentioned, it seems like there's some boos for him now. Time will tell once he actually appears on television. And if he does not appear with Paul Heyman, that's going to make things worse for him. Because Paul Heyman will be able to get him over. And with Paul Heyman's promo, I think he'll be able to get people cheering Lesnar. But yeah, I'm not so sure. That's a big question mark. And with Randy Orton still having some ring rust, which was very clear on SmackDown, you may want to not put that in the main event slot. I think I would go with Rollins versus Balor. With the right build-up, not only will that match potentially steal the show, but it will make that Universal title very important, which it's going to be important anyway since it's the Raw title. And yeah, I think that would be a very solid main event for SummerSlam, and putting the match that will probably be the best match on the show for a major championship in the main event. Perfectly fine with it. This one comes from Joseph. How would you like to see Dolph Ziggler go heel, have him be built up right then, all of a sudden wins it like a heel? Well, his handle is Heel Ziggler after all. He's just so stale right now, and this whole thing with him winning came out of left field. And yes, I mentioned it in the previous video, I like the surprise element of it. But I would have preferred that Ziggler had somewhat of a good storyline leading up to that win. At least maybe some wins under his belt instead of 50-50 booking with Baron Corbin on the pre-show. You know what I'm saying? I think that a heel turn might do him a lot of good, especially since Ambrose and Ziggler is face versus face. And it would be nice to see a heel turn, and I think of the two of them, it would definitely work better for Ziggler. And plus the heel Ziggler username would make sense again. So why not? Turn him heel, do something with him to give him some momentum going into SummerSlam. This one comes from Zach. Do you think they're going to go all the way with Balor? They should. He is a megastar. The fact that he was drafted, number 3 in the draft? I mean, that right there just goes to show that the company is really high on the guy, and they are going to go all the way with him as a top star. He's getting the match at SummerSlam, which people were not expecting. And, he very well could lose to Seth Rollins at SummerSlam, but he could win. I mean, I would not rule it out, the idea that he wins at SummerSlam and WWE goes 100% all the way with him right from the get-go and puts him on top as champion. The only reason I could see WWE not doing it is because WWE has this tendency to not push guys too strong too quickly. WWE has this attitude that guys need to pay their dues, and yes, Balor's been paying his dues on the indies and then in NXT, but I think WWE will more than likely wait on him. I mean, they do not want to push him too quickly and he gets too big of a head. WWE looks back at examples like Goldberg, a guy who got pushed so quickly that he had somewhat of an ego, according to some people, and some people didn't like him, felt his head got too big too quickly. Even though Goldberg made a ton of money for WCW, and if Finn Balor was pushed straight to the top, he very well could make a lot of money for WWE and could be a breakout star. So I think it's more likely he doesn't win, but I will not rule it out. This one comes from Insane Panda. Hey Aaron, do you think we will see a traditional elimination tag team match at this year's Survivor Series between Raw and SmackDown? If there's no bragging rights pay-per-view, which there isn't to my knowledge anytime soon, then yeah, that would be the perfect opportunity to do a match like that, Team Raw versus Team SmackDown, as the featured match for Survivor Series. And Survivor Series could really use something, especially if WWE is going to continue to make Survivor Series one of the big 4 pay-per-views, then why not do something like that? That would be a great way to make this pay-per-view important, as one of the only times in the year you get to see Raw versus SmackDown. And at least it'll be a couple of months since the brand extension. I mean, ideally, you'd have like a year before you do interpromotional matches, Raw versus SmackDown. And we're already getting Orton versus Lesnar, Raw versus SmackDown, which is lame, but whatever. So it's a little soon to be doing a match like that, but still, Survivor Series is really the best place to do it with the elimination style match. This one comes from D-Ran Harris. Hey Aaron, what was SmackDown Live missing that could have made it better than Raw? Keep up the good work. I like your question. I think that there are a number of factors. Maybe the commentary team. I wasn't a fan of JBL doing the commentary. I think that the Battle Royal and Six-Pack Challenge felt like you were just throwing matches together, and Raw felt like a little bit bigger of a deal with the women's title match and the main event being a one-on-one match. I think if WWE had done AJ versus Cena, which is what I was expecting actually. I was thinking they were going to do that match as the main event with the winner getting the SummerSlam title shot. I think it would have been a little bit bigger of a deal, and maybe there are a few other things that could have been done. I'm not really sure. It did feel like something was missing off of that show. It really did not feel must-see, even though the WWE Champion was on that show. I mean, the roster is definitely a little thin, and that was clear during the Battle Royal, and it felt like that Miz TV segment was killing time filler. That's the other thing, too. With Raw, it felt like there was very little filler, and that was a 3-hour show, too, and with SmackDown, it felt like things were dragging a bit. So maybe they need to speed up the pace a little bit, maybe add a few more stars from the past, like Shelton Benjamin and Once American Alpha debuts. Things should theoretically start to pick up, hopefully. This one comes from Lewis Hawkings. Do you think the past two shows sounded less scripted, especially with the post-match interviews? Will this be better for feuds? I think they did sound a little less scripted, maybe not a lot. I do agree that the post-match interviews will help. I'm definitely a fan of that. I like the fact that WWE is doing the post-match interviews. You know, it's a little bit of an old feel. You know, I remember back during Nitro, Gene Okerlund would do the post-match interviews. I'm glad WWE's bringing back that concept, and you know, the one-on-one interviews in the ring gives it a little bit more of anything can happen feel, because when you do the backstage promos, you know, they can do multiple takes of those. When it's in the ring, you know, they can only get it in one take. So it has a little bit of a different feel to it and vibe to it, and I like it. I hope they do more of them. This one comes from Devon. Thoughts on Shelton Benjamin coming back to SmackDown? I just about lost it when I saw it. Well, this was something that was rumored for quite some time. Shelton Benjamin was one of those names that was rumored to be coming back, and I definitely feel he can help out some of the younger talent and maybe even have a pretty decent run. We'll see what happens when he comes back. He's still got a few years left, no doubt. I haven't really seen much of his work lately, but from what I have seen, he can still go, and he's definitely a good hand. He's a guy that can help add a little bit of star power, a little bit of nostalgia, and help elevate some of the younger talent. And, you know, he's definitely a good guy to have around. So I'm happy he's coming back, and it should make SmackDown a little bit more exciting, for sure. This one comes from Jason Simone. Hey Aaron, is it just me, or did that Battle Royal feel like it was the mid-card jobber match? SmackDown roster feels low-card only. I was talking about this a few minutes ago. Yeah, that match had a lot of guys that really did not have that much impact on WWE in recent months, and guys that, without the brand extension, probably would not be on TV in the first place. Guys like The Ascension being out there. That is a positive to the brand split, is guys that haven't gotten much TV time will get more exposure, but you have to do something with these guys and build them up. The thing is, we just had the brand extension, the draft, and these guys haven't really gotten a chance to be reintroduced or repackaged or given a solid storyline. So it's just a bunch of these guys that haven't been on TV in a long time, just thrown together into a battle royal, and that's why it really didn't feel like anything special. And this one comes from Kofi Jingle Records. There, got it, finally. Where do you see Shelton fitting in on SmackDown? That's interesting. I mean, I could see Shelton working with one of the guys that I mentioned from the Battle Royal. Maybe not guys like the Ascension, but guys that haven't really gotten much of an opportunity. Maybe somebody like a Heath Slater. Those kind of guys that have been lost in the shuffle. They can be given a storyline with Shelton Benjamin and a chance to have some really good matches on television and rise their stock in the company. That's what Shelton can do. So I see Shelton working with the guys like Heath Slater and some of those lower mid-card guys that we haven't seen on TV much, but maybe with a new storyline, a little bit of tweaking to their characters, they'll be able to have a second chance here in WWE to succeed and become bigger stars than they've been in the past. Got this one here from Kyle Allen. Is it too late for Hideo Itami? I think a lot of that will depend on his health, and apparently he hasn't been 100% since coming back, and that could be a problem. If he continues to be hurt, that will definitely play a role in his chances of getting to the main roster at some point. I don't see him getting drafted until he has been able to stay healthy for an extended period of time, and WWE knows they can invest in him on the main roster without a huge risk of him getting injured again. So they're going to be paying close attention to him and making sure that he can work the schedule in NXT without getting hurt. And at that point, they'll bring him up to the main roster. I mean, bringing him up now when he's just coming off this injury and not 100%, that's a recipe for disaster. He could very easily get hurt again, and then that's just more time and money wasted in investing in him. That'll do it for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Again, check out the link in the description box to watch the bonus edition, or a mini edition of NoDQ&A video, a little bit of a bonus. Check that out. Tune in this coming Monday for the live chat, nodq.com/chat, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 1/2 hour before Raw. See you guys then, and make sure you check out the other videos on the channel, Jeff Meacham's After the Bell and Talk Wrestling, and even Noah's videos. Check them out. And on that note, I will see you guys next time.